So this video will be talking about the list of errors and cognitive errors that people make, um, and the philosophical razors often that we use to try to combat them in our attempt at critical thinking. So we're going to get started with looking at, start with the errors. So there's what we call fundamental attribution error. It's the first on your list. So that's when someone else is late, let's say to class. It's because they're lazy. When you're late, man, it was traffic. So we attribute things to others. In a related fashion, self-serving bias, attributing all your success to skill. And when bad things happen, oh man, that's just bad luck. In-group favoritism, favoring your in-group, whatever that group is, class group, gender group, racial group. Group think, when you go along with the group to avoid conflict and contention. The Dunning-Kruger effect, an extremely important one. The principle that the less competent you are, actually, the more confident you are in what you're saying. So honestly, dumb people, and you've probably seen this on social media, will get up and have this very confident opinion about stuff that they don't know anything about. And honestly, we can even look in current events, people that don't know anything about education are running the Department of Education. People that don't know anything about medicine are running the CDC and Health and Human Services. But they talk with such confidence that people are roped in, where people that are actually educated on these things are often, they say, plagued with doubt, or at least we know, wow, I know that there's so much more complexity to this issue. Anchoring. This is also very important when peeling back how, like, for instance, political communication or marketing communication works. The very first piece of information we hear tends to influence everything else that we anchor or link that thing to. So if we hear that blank is positive or blank is negative, then we continue to attach information based on that initial piece of information, and we find it very difficult to let go of it. Confirmation bias, we tend to look for information that already confirms what we believe rather than looking for new information that challenges our belief. Authority bias. We could probably see that one at work today too. This is where we put too much stock in authority figures because they're elected or because they have a badge or whatever. We give them way too much weight when they may not have very much in the way of actual information to go on. Bystander effect. This is when people are less likely to take responsibility to act if they're in a crowd. And part of that is the idea that we don't want to be seen as, I guess, messing up. So we don't want to walk into a situation or walk in front of a group to let that bias occur. Let's move on to razors. So there's Occam's razor. You've probably heard of this one. When there are complex and myriad explanations, often the simplest one is your best bet. The Sagan standard, Carl Sagan, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Now, this is often what scientists and religious figures often debate about, because a religious figure will make a claim an extraordinary claim. These things are happening. There's a God out there doing all these things. And a scientist who may or may not be religious at all may relate to this only as Sagan's standard to say, well, you've made an extraordinary claim. You must have extraordinary evidence. Relatedly, Hitchens' razor, that which can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. So Christopher Hitchens, famous agnostic and atheist, said, I don't have to prove God to you. You assert no evidence of a God, I can dismiss it with no evidence. Hume's razor, causes must be sufficient to produce an effect assigned to them. So, hey, the wind was gusting 5 to 10 miles an hour. Is that enough to make a Boeing 747 crash? No. But perhaps one of those cloud bursts or downdrafts could. The duck test, if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, swims like a duck, probably a duck. Popper's falsifiability principle. For a theory to be considered scientific, it must be possible to disprove or refute it. Aliens that exist in other dimensions outside of our reality secretly control our minds and what we think. Someone makes a claim that is unfalsifiable, it can't be tested. So there's really not a lot of reason to debate it. Newton's flaming sword. If something cannot be settled by experiment, it's not worth debating. Obviously, very much connected to Popper's. If I can't come up with a experiment to say things that are going to happen, I shouldn't have to debate it. And why this is important. There have been several times where popular opinion was just straight wrong. During the polio scares in the early part of the 20th century, they closed swimming pools. People didn't eat ice cream. They didn't know people would come up with these things, and there wasn't an experiment that they knew to do it, so they should have dismissed those fears, but of course they didn't. Grice's razor, address what the speaker actually meant instead of addressing a literal meaning. This is where somebody, let's say, says, well, that's millions of miles away, when they should have said billions, and then people jump on that. And then Hanlon's razor, never attribute to malice what can be adequately explained by incompetence or stupidity. Hanlon's razor is probably best being used when you're driving. Somebody gets into your lane, it wasn't because they hate you and are secretly wanting to kill you. It's probably because they didn't see you, they weren't paying attention. So those are errors and razors.